The rain was soft that evening, following like whispered secrets over the city. Inside the tall glass building of Hawthorne Enterprises, Ethan Cole, the new assistant manager, wiped his hands nervously before entering the executive boardroom. He looked simple, an old wristwatch, a plain shirt. Nothing about him hinted that he was the heir to one of the most powerful business empires in New York. He wanted to be seen, not for his name, not for his money, but for his worth. That's when he saw Isabella Hartley, the daughter of the company's CEO, radiant, confident, yet with eyes that carried a strange loneliness. Their first meeting wasn't perfect. She barely noticed him, too busy talking numbers and deals. But Ethan, he couldn't take his eyes off her. Days turned into weeks. They began to talk, first about work, then about life. She found him different, humble, grounded, nothing like the rich men she grew up around. And he found in her something he never expected, warmth behind the perfection, sadness behind the smiles. One evening, as they stayed late in the office, the city lights glowing behind them, Isabella asked, "Ethan, do you ever feel like we live two lives, one for the world and one just to survive?" He looked at her for a long moment and said softly, "Every single day." That night, something changed. She started bringing him coffee. He started walking her to her car. Their laughter began to echo through the empty halls. But soon, whispers began. Her friends asked, "You're dating him? That new manager? You don't even know his background." Her father found out, and the storm began. Mr. Hartley called Ethan into his office. "Let's not waste words," he said coldly. "Stay away from my daughter. I don't care how smart you are, you'll never belong in her world." Ethan just nodded. "If that's what she believes, I'll leave. But if she doesn't, you can't stop her." That night, Isabella cried. Her father had already shown her background checks, reports, stories, everything to prove Ethan was just an ordinary man with a modest apartment and no real fortune. But love makes you deaf to logic. She didn't care. She ran away with him. They married in a small church on the edge of the city with no guests, no flowers, just their promises. And yet, as she looked into his eyes, for a split second, she saw something there, a flicker of mystery, a shadow he didn't let her see. It was gone before she could ask. That night, he whispered, "One day, Isabella, you'll know everything about me. But promise me, when that day comes, don't hate me." She smiled and said, "There's nothing you could hide that would make me love you less." But she was wrong. It had been 3 months since their quiet wedding. The city was still, but Isabella's heart was restless. Ethan had changed. Not cruel, not distant, but different. He left early, came home late, and when she asked where he'd been, he'd smile and say, "Just business, love, nothing important." But she felt it, the secrets crawling between their words. One evening, she followed him. It wasn't her nature to doubt, but something inside whispered, "He's hiding something big." Her car stopped outside a building, tall, shining, the same one where they first met. She saw him step out, but not as the man she'd married. He wasn't in his old shirt or worn shoes. He wore a tailored suit. Guards opened the doors for him, and the employees stood straight as he passed. And then she saw it, the golden nameplate by the entrance. Cole Industries. Ethan Cole, CEO. Her breath stopped. Her world blurred. Ethan wasn't the poor, struggling manager she thought he was. He was one of the richest men in the country. The man who said he wanted a simple life had built that simplicity on a lie. She drove home in silence, tears blurring the road. Every word he'd said replayed in her mind. "You'll know everything one day. Just don't hate me." That night, when Ethan came home, she was waiting by the window. Her voice trembled. "Who are you, Ethan?" He froze. Then he took a deep breath and said, "I'm still me, Isabella. The man who loved you when I had nothing, because I wanted you to see my heart, not my bank account." She laughed bitterly through tears. "So you lied to me to test me?" He stepped closer. "No, I hid it to protect you from your world, from people who would never let you love a man without a fortune. I wanted to know, Would you still choose me if I were poor? Her eyes burned. And what about my trust? You took that from me. Silence, heavy, like the air before a storm. Then the thunder came, not outside, but between them. She took off her wedding ring, placed it on the table. I loved a man who was real, Ethan, not one who needed to hide behind lies. He whispered, broken, Isabella, everything I built, every lie I told, it was all just to find someone who'd love me, not my money. She looked at him for the last time. Then, congratulations, she said softly. You found her. And you lost her. The rain started again that night, just like the day they met. Ethan stood alone at the window, watching the world blur behind glass. A world he owned, but one that now felt empty. He reached for his phone and played the last voicemail she had left him before she found out the truth. Ethan, I don't care if we're poor forever. I just want honesty. Promise me you'll never hide from me. His eyes filled with tears. He whispered into the silence, I broke that promise before I ever made it. Outside, the rain washed the city clean, but some stains never fade. The end. Trust is like glass. Once broken, even love can't make it whole again.